So the book that comes out in June is a YA novel called Life Before, about a 17-year-old boy. But I won't get into that. So I write for adults and young adults, and I've been toying with this idea of America electing their president by a reality TV show, so they have more people voting. So this event today was a fun way to explore that idea. So in this story, all Americans have endured standardized tests, and the 12 best testers will be drafted to run for president. I'm calling it Civil Circus, and this is the second time it's happened. 8 years ago, Edward missed the cut by 7 points. Every time Northwestern's faculty suggested his dreams were too lofty or his aspirations unreal, Edward rebutted 7 lousy points. This year, test results would be skewed. Ambitious Americans had studied for their chance to become the most powerful man in the world, and others had thrown the test to ensure they weren't one of the 12 candidates drafted for the months-long reality TV show. Anna waddled into the living room. In threadbare yoga pants and a faded law school t-shirt, she still waddled 2 months postpartum, though Edward wouldn't mention that. When they got pregnant, quite accidentally, Edward enthused that a new baby would increase his likability if he were on the show. Now he wasn't so sure. "She's poopy," he said. Anna sat cross-legged on the sofa. "You'd better change her then," she said. Anna buckled the nursing pillow around her waist and tuned in for their first real-time TV broadcast in years. She wanted Edward to miss the cutoff by fewer than 7 points. This baby was their last, and she hadn't had a baby in her arms for over a decade. Anna wanted to enjoy her maternity leave, to sleep when her baby slept, to enjoy the new baby smell, to coo at a tiny baby's feet for 6 months before she was compelled back to her law firm. If Edward was a candidate, producers would whisk away the whole family for 2 whole months. Privately, she was certain he wouldn't be drafted. He probably fell short on business or economics. His knowledge of the law was unparalleled. His skills in geography and world politics were admirable. But Edward could hardly be one of the smartest people in the country about everything, though Anna wouldn't say that aloud. The music started and she hollered up the stairs, "It's starting! Edward! Ryan! Emily!" Edward bounded down the stairs and returned the mewing infant to his wife. Anna said, "You have a bit of spit up on your shoulder." "Her crap on my shirt, too," he scoffed. "Emily! Ryan!" Anna latched the baby onto her breast as their older children sulked down the stairs. Every social studies teacher in America had assigned the show as required viewing. Emily threw herself onto the sofa. "She pooped again, Mom." Anna whispered, "It's your dad who smells like poop." Gross. "Quiet or find another television," Edward said, despite the absence of another TV in the house. Anna said, "I can't imagine what ludicrous task candidates will endure this year." She coaxed the baby's mouth back open. As Edward said, "I can only dream." He absently massaged his abdominal muscles. In January, just days after they sat for the civil service exam, his confidence led him to Chicago's best gym and a personal trainer. He wanted the sexy vote. "It's all bullshit anyway," Ryan said. "Words," Anna said. "Well, it is. I can't vote. I don't care who wins. Dirk's parents send everyone home way earlier than usual, so we could watch at home with our families. Seriously, this is why we have DVR." Edward crossed his arms over his chest. 8 years takes you through college and into the job market, so you should care. The wrong guy could screw up your future and your whole life. Ryan crossed his arms and pouted, the same crooked pout he'd made since birth. Anna sighed. In 3 short years, no matter who was president, her baby, the one who had made her a mother, would go to college, likely several states away. Maternity leave let her bond with the baby, but she was more grateful to bond with her son, who was becoming more of a man every day. For 2 hours, energy in the room ebbed and flowed with each new candidate, the most promising of whom was a retired teacher from Seattle named Katie. The 12th candidate was an actual United States congressman, which hadn't happened during the last campaign. Host Kat Deely said, "Folks, we have one last surprise for you. 2 candidates tied this year, so there's one more after the break. Stay with us." Desperate, Edward eyed his wife. She panicked that it might actually be him. He panicked that it might not be. Emily said, "I'm going to go make popcorn." Edward said, "Butt on the sofa in 90 seconds." The doorbell rang, and Edward raised his arms. "Am I the only one who understands how important this is?" Something crashed in the kitchen, and Emily screamed. Edward ran to her as the doorbell rang again. Anna glared at her son, who wouldn't budge from the sofa. "Edward, we're nursing here. Can you just get that?" "In a second," Edward said. "Jesus!" Anna turned back to the television, where her own gorgeous cream hydrangea heads slowly bobbed in the early September breeze. The new landscaping looked really good. Music returned as Edward thumped down the hallway in his stained TV shirt. "Edward?" she said as she realized exactly what was happening. She rushed after him, too far behind him to catch, and unable to articulate what lay on the other side of the door. Edward's phone rang, and she could see its backlight through his thin black pocket. The baby wailed for more milk as Edward threw open the door to find the production crew. "You are required to report for civil service," the producer said. "Anna Mitchell." The camera panned to their 13th candidate, disheveled and slack-jawed, with a nursing pillow hanging limply from her sagging postpartum middle. The baby wailed 5 inches from a dark, dripping, exposed nipple, and her father clenched his jaw.